My name is Ethan. I'm 38 years old, and for the past 10 years, I thought I was the luckiest guy alive. I married the kind of woman most guys would never even dream of landing. Lauren was witty, warm, graceful without trying. She had this way of making every room feel brighter just by being in it. People loved her. Men were drawn to her. And somehow, she chose me. We weren't rich, but we were comfortable. We lived in a clean little two-story outside of Charlotte, North Carolina. I worked in logistics, she worked freelance in interior design. We didn't have kids, not because we couldn't, but because we agreed early on that we wanted to enjoy life together first. Travel, build a future, maybe talk about children later. Those first few years were amazing. Spontaneous road trips, lazy Sundays, inside jokes, movie marathons on rainy nights. We were best friends, lovers, teammates. I trusted her with everything. And that's why I didn't see it coming. About 8 months ago, Lauren started acting different. Not drastically, not overnight, but in ways that were just subtle enough to ignore if you didn't want to face them. She started going out more. Not in a party way, more like personal growth stuff. "It's just a women's circle," she said one night, slipping on her jacket. "A place for women to connect. Talk. Share." Sure. I supported that. We all need space to grow. But then it became every Thursday. Then Tuesdays, too. Sometimes Sundays. She'd come home late. Not crazy late, but past midnight, and always with the same excuse: we lost track of time. That's when I started noticing her outfits. Before, Lauren wore what she liked: comfy jeans, sweaters, hair in a messy bun. Now she dressed sharp. High heels. Lipstick. Designer perfume I never even knew she owned. And it wasn't for me. At first, I told myself it was harmless. Self-care. Self-love. Let her feel beautiful. But then came the secrets. She started guarding her phone like it was the launch codes. Silent mode. Locked screen. Changed her passcode. Kept it on her at all times. She'd even angle the screen away from me while texting. One night, while she was in the shower, I saw her phone light up on the dresser. A preview popped up. I wasn't trying to snoop, it just caught my eye. "See you next week" face blowing a kiss, no name. Just a kiss emoji. My stomach twisted. I didn't open it. I couldn't. But I also couldn't let it go. I asked her that night, trying to sound casual. "So, how's the women's group?" She looked up from her wine, gave me that easy smile. "It's good. You'd be surprised how powerful it is to just talk. We share things we can't say anywhere else." Something about the way she said it, like she knew I was fishing. From that moment on, something shifted in me. I started paying attention. Took note of her mood before and after the meetings. Her scent. Her energy. She'd leave stressed and come home glowing. Peaceful. Satisfied in a way that had nothing to do with talking. So I decided to follow her. I waited until the next Thursday. Told her I was working late. Watched her leave the house, then grabbed my keys and followed her from a distance. She drove across town, past neighborhoods I didn't recognize. Finally stopped in front of an old brick building with tinted windows and no signage. Just one red door. She got out, rang a buzzer, looked straight at the security camera, and the door clicked open. She disappeared inside. I stayed in the car. Watched. Waited. More women showed up. All alone. All dressed up. All buzzed in without hesitation. I stayed there for over an hour, just watching that red door. My heart pounded like I was the one doing something wrong. When she came home that night, I was already in bed, pretending to be asleep. She kissed my forehead softly. Her perfume lingered. Something inside me cracked. And I knew. Next time, I wouldn't just follow. I'd walk through that door. After that night, something in me changed. I couldn't stop thinking about the red door. It haunted me. I'd sit at my desk at work and catch myself staring blankly at spreadsheets, picturing Lauren walking through that entrance like it was a second home. I started questioning everything, the late nights, the new perfume, the guarded phone. My mind was a storm, and I couldn't calm it. So I did what any desperate man would do. I started digging. I began with what I knew, the address. I searched online, mapped it, looked for businesses registered to that location. Nothing. No listings, no signage. According to Google, the place didn't even exist. I went to forums, Reddit threads, even local Facebook groups. Still nothing. Just dead ends and rabbit holes. One person messaged me privately and said, "If it's that building, leave it alone, man. That place isn't what you think it is." That sent chills down my spine. Still, I wasn't going to stop. Not now. So I drove back. This time during the day, hoping I'd get a better look without drawing attention. The building looked even more unremarkable in daylight. Old brick, a single security camera above the door, and that same smooth red paint on the entrance. No signs. No doorbell. Just a brushed steel buzzer. I paced up and down the sidewalk, pretending to check my phone, hoping someone would come or go so I could catch a glimpse of the inside. Eventually, a woman did arrive. She looked polished, hair done, long coat, heels that clicked sharply on the pavement. She paused just briefly before pressing the buzzer, looked up at the camera, and within seconds, the door unlocked with a soft metallic click. She slipped inside. Gone. I tried to peek as it closed, but it was sealed tight. Whatever this place was, it was private. Very private. That night at home, I couldn't keep it in anymore. "Hey," I asked Lauren while we were brushing our teeth, "what exactly do you do at these meetings?" She glanced at me in the mirror, then looked back down at the sink. "I told you. It's a women's empowerment circle. We talk, journal, reflect. Sometimes there's meditation. It's just, you always come back so, different." She smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. Different how? I hesitated. Like, lighter. I don't know. Like something happened. Something good. She paused, toothbrush in hand, and for a split second, I saw something behind her eyes. Guilt? Fear? Excitement? Then it was gone. "Maybe it's just working," she said, rinsing her mouth. "Maybe I'm finally finding myself." I nodded. Said nothing more. But inside, I was screaming. The next Thursday, I followed her again. This time, I was prepared. Hoodie, hat, neutral car. I parked down the block and watched as she entered the building once more, same ritual, same red door, same buzz-in. But tonight, I wasn't just going to sit and stare. I waited 5 minutes. Then got out of the car and walked up to the entrance. I tried to steady my breathing. Pressed the buzzer. A soft click. Nothing else. Then a voice. Soft, calm. Female. Name. I hesitated. I think I'm in the wrong place. No response. I waited. Then the voice returned, colder this time. "This is a private facility. Please leave." The line went dead. I stood there, heart pounding in my throat, not sure what to do. Then, from inside, I heard laughter. High-pitched. Flirty. Like a cocktail party, not a meditation circle. I backed away slowly and returned to my car. That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept replaying that voice in my head. It wasn't robotic. It wasn't security. It was someone real, someone who knew I didn't belong. And yet, something about it pulled at me. Like I was being warned. Or, invited. The next day, I started planning how to get inside. I found a burner email and sent a message to a generic address I discovered through some serious digging. charlotte.circle@protonmail.com. All I wrote was, "I'm interested in joining. Please let me know how to apply." No name. No signature. I didn't expect a reply. But a few hours later, I got one. "We'll be in touch." That was it. No name, no greeting, no further info. Just 5 words that felt like a door creaking open. That weekend, Lauren was different again. More distant than usual. Her phone never left her side. She laughed at jokes I didn't hear. Smiled at thoughts I wasn't part of. Sunday night, I caught her staring out the window, lost in thought. "You okay?" I asked gently. She blinked, looked at me like she forgot I was even there. "Yeah. Just, tired." But it wasn't tired. It was something else. Something blooming inside her that I didn't recognize anymore. I told myself I had to be patient. Wait for them to reply. Wait for my turn. But I didn't have to wait long. Because the next Thursday, I followed her again, and this time, just before she reached the red door, someone else stepped out. A woman. No. Not just any woman. It was Claire. My sister-in-law. And she looked right at me. Claire. Of all the people I could have seen stepping out of that building, I never expected her. My wife's younger sister. Bright-eyed, high-energy Claire who still posted daily Instagram stories about brunch and motivational quotes. She worked in marketing. Volunteered at animal shelters. She was the last person I imagined walking out of a building that felt so forbidden. But there she was, locking eyes with me like she'd seen a ghost. Her face dropped. She didn't smile. Didn't wave. She just froze for a second, then turned on her heel and walked straight to her car. Fast. Too fast. I wanted to chase after her. To ask what the hell was going on. But I didn't. Because suddenly it wasn't just about Lauren anymore. Claire being involved meant this went deeper than I imagined. Maybe it wasn't just a secret from me. Maybe it was something shared, something protected. That scared me more than anything. When I got home that night, Lauren was already there. Sitting cross-legged on the couch, glass of wine in hand, watching a baking show like nothing was wrong. Like her whole life wasn't slowly unraveling behind a velvet curtain of lies. I sat across from her. Silent. Studying her. "Good meeting?" I asked. She looked at me over the rim of her glass. "Yeah. Very grounding." That word again. Grounding. She used it a lot lately, like it meant something more than what it sounded like. Did Claire go too? Her eyes flickered. Claire. She sipped her wine. Stalled. No, she doesn't do those. Why? I stared at her. She stared back. And for a second, just one, I saw the panic. Then it was gone. No reason, I lied. Just ran into her earlier. The tension hung in the air like a storm cloud, but Lauren didn't push it. She changed the subject. Started talking about dinner plans, the show, random things. But the damage was done. She had lied. And she knew I knew it. I didn't sleep that night. My mind ran wild with theories. Was this some kind of cult? A secret society? Was Claire the one who brought Lauren in? Were there others? Did their husbands know? I began to feel like I was losing my grip on reality. Over the next few days, I started watching both of them more closely. Lauren and Claire. The way they texted. The way they spoke when we were all together. The little smirks they exchanged. I'd never noticed before, but now it was obvious. There was something between them. A silent agreement. A shared secret. I knew I couldn't confront either of them yet. I needed more. I needed proof. So I went back to the building. Again. This time, I arrived earlier, before anyone else. I parked close, rolled down the window, and waited. I had a pair of binoculars, a notepad, a thermos full of coffee, and all the time in the world. At 6:17 p.m., the first woman arrived. Mid-30s. Dressed in all black. She looked around nervously before buzzing in. Then another. And another. By 6:45, at least 12 women had entered. At 6:58, Lauren arrived. I watched her walk, graceful, calm, confident, and felt the sting of betrayal all over again. She buzzed, smiled slightly at the camera, and disappeared inside. I gripped the steering wheel so hard my knuckles turned white. At exactly 7:06, the side door opened. It wasn't the main red door, it was a small, barely noticeable exit on the alley side. A man stepped out. My heart stopped. He was in his 40s. Tall. Sharp suit. Clean-shaven. Not someone you'd expect around what Lauren called a women's circle. He looked like he belonged at a private banking firm, not inside a candlelit therapy group. He pulled out a phone, made a call, laughed, then lit a cigarette and leaned against the wall. I snapped a photo. Zoomed in. Captured everything. 10 minutes later, another man exited. This one younger. Tattoo on his neck. Rolled up sleeves. Muscular. He didn't even pretend to hide. Just walked to a black car, started the engine, and drove off. And just like that, I knew. Lauren had been lying not just about the women. There were men inside. And they weren't there to meditate. I drove home shaking. My head was a swarm of questions I couldn't answer. What was going on in there? Was it some kind of escort operation? A secret club for affairs? Was Lauren paying them, or being paid? Every possible scenario played through my mind like a twisted movie reel. I barely spoke to Lauren that night. She asked if something was wrong. I smiled and said I was just tired. She believed me. And then, right before bed, her phone buzzed. She didn't notice. She was brushing her hair. I did. Just a glimpse of the preview. Last night was unforgettable. Can't wait to see you again. No name. Just a fire emoji. After seeing that message, last night was unforgettable, something inside me broke. Not cracked. Snapped. There was no more doubt. No more excuses. No more hoping it was all in my head. Lauren was lying to me. Repeatedly. Intentionally. And whatever this club was, it wasn't just a place for women to talk. I stared at her from across the bed that night, watching her scroll through her phone, smiling faintly at whatever she was reading. She looked peaceful. Like nothing in the world was wrong. And I hated that. I hated how calm she looked while my insides were eating themselves alive. The next morning, I called in sick. I couldn't go to work. I couldn't pretend anymore. I needed answers. So I started pulling together everything I had. Photos. Timelines. Notes I'd written after each stakeout. Names of women I recognized entering the building, some from Lauren's social circle, others I'd seen at local events. I even reverse searched a few license plates and found matches to names I didn't expect. A high school teacher. A city council member's wife. Someone who worked at the local hospital. This was organized. Careful. Deliberate. I needed proof. Real proof. Not blurry photos or suspicions, something undeniable. So I made a decision. I would get inside. Not through the front. Not buzzing in like some clueless outsider. I needed another way. I went back Thursday afternoon, hours before the first woman usually arrived. I circled the building, looking for entrances. Windows. Vents. Anything. That's when I found the service door. On the east side of the building, hidden behind a dumpster and a rusted-out fence. It had a keypad lock, but the doorframe was old. Warped. Like it hadn't been reinforced in years. I didn't break in. Not yet. Instead, I returned later, just after 7 p.m., when the place was full, when no one would hear a creak or a quiet push. I wore gloves. A black hoodie. I parked 3 blocks away and walked. I slipped through the alley, heart pounding louder than my footsteps. I pressed on the service door. It gave just slightly. I slipped a flathead screwdriver from my back pocket and wedged it in the side. Gentle pressure. Patience. 1 push. 2. Then. Click. The door opened. I was in. The hallway was dim, barely lit by a flickering bulb. The air smelled like lavender and something faintly sweet, vanilla, maybe. Music played faintly in the distance. Something soft. Jazzy. Seductive. I moved slowly, following the sound. Every few feet, there were doors. Some closed, others slightly ajar. Through one, I saw a small room with floor pillows, candles, silk drapes. No one inside. Just shadows dancing on the wall. I turned a corner. That's when I heard laughter. Female voices. Footsteps. I ducked behind a curtain. 2 women passed, wearing robes. Not like hotel robes, more like designer silk. One of them held a glass of wine. The other wore nothing underneath. They didn't see me. I waited, breath shallow, until their footsteps faded. Then I kept moving. The main corridor ended at a heavy velvet curtain. Behind it, light poured out. Gold. Warm. Alive. I crept closer. Pulled it back just an inch. What I saw on the other side nearly made me fall over. It was a lounge. A massive open space, decorated like a 5-star spa crossed with a VIP nightclub. Dim lighting. Soft couches. Flowing curtains. Low music. And people. Men and women. Talking. Laughing. Some drinking. Some, more than just talking. I recognized 3 women instantly. One was Lauren's yoga instructor. Another was the PTA president from the local school board. The third, no mistaking, was Claire. And then, I saw her. Lauren. She was sitting with a man I'd never seen before. Leaning close. Her hand was on his knee. She was smiling like a teenager. And then she kissed him. Not a friendly peck. A real kiss. Full. Slow. Familiar. I backed away like I'd been punched in the gut. I couldn't breathe. My vision blurred. My chest tightened. I stumbled back down the hallway, retracing my steps, not even caring if someone saw me anymore. When I burst out the service door, the cool night air hit me like a slap. I nearly collapsed against the wall. I don't remember how I got back to my car. I just remember sitting there for over an hour, gripping the steering wheel, shaking, my knuckles white. She kissed him. Right in the open. No shame. No fear. No guilt. Because she knew, she thought, I'd never see. But I did. And now, there was no going back. I didn't go to work for the next 3 days. I called in sick. Turned off my phone. Closed the curtains. I couldn't eat, couldn't sleep, couldn't even look at myself in the mirror without feeling sick. What I had seen in that room behind the red door wasn't just betrayal, it was erasure. Like I had never existed. Like 10 years of marriage had been a stage play, and Lauren had walked off script long ago. I kept watching the video on my phone. Over and over. Pause. Rewind. Zoom in. Her hand on his chest. Her fingers on his knee. That damn smile after the kiss, like she was 17 again and falling in love for the first time, with someone else. And the worst part? She looked happy. Not conflicted. Not guilty. Happy. I sat in my office for hours with nothing but a cup of cold coffee and a spiral notebook filled with notes, times, names, faces, license plates. I mapped everything. Connected the dots like a detective in a crime movie. This wasn't just cheating. It was part of something much bigger. Something systematic. Organized. Hidden in plain sight. 12 women entered that building the night I followed her. I recognized at least 5, a teacher from the high school, a woman who ran a local bakery, the wife of a retired judge. All of them carried themselves the same way, composed, confident, untouchable. And then there were the men. They didn't sneak in. They belonged there. Some even exited through the front door, laughing. I realized then, this wasn't just a place for secret affairs. This was a network. And Lauren wasn't just a participant. She was comfortable. Seasoned. She knew what she was doing. By Sunday evening, I had made up my mind. I was going to confront her. But not recklessly. Not in anger. I wanted control. I wanted her to feel what it was like to be exposed. To have her lies dragged into the light. So I set the trap. Monday morning, I printed every piece of evidence I had. Screenshots. Time-stamped photos. A still from the video of her with the man in the lounge. I laid them out on the kitchen table beneath a single overhead light. Then I waited. All day. When she walked through the door around 6:30 p.m., she looked relaxed. She was humming a song I didn't recognize. Her hair was tied up. She wore that gray coat I used to love. She tossed her keys in the bowl like nothing had changed. She didn't notice the evidence until she reached the kitchen. I watched from the hallway. She froze. 10 seconds. Maybe 15. And then. What is this? Her voice was steady, but her eyes were wide. You tell me, I said, stepping forward. She looked down at the papers. Her lips parted. Her breathing shifted. Panic bloomed in her chest, but she tried to mask it. She picked up the photo of her kissing the man. This isn't what it looks like. I laughed. It was bitter and hollow. Really? Because it looks exactly like my wife cheating on me in a secret lounge behind a red door. She didn't answer. Just set the photo down carefully like it might catch fire. How long? I asked. No response. How many? Still nothing. Look at me and tell me the truth, Lauren. She looked up then. And for the first time, I saw something worse than guilt in her eyes. I saw relief. 8 months, she said. I felt the floor tilt beneath me. And how many? She hesitated. Then. 3. 3. She tried to explain. Said it wasn't about the sex. Said the club wasn't just about affairs, it was a place where women could reclaim their power. Said I wouldn't understand because I was on the outside. You lied to me. I know. You let me love you while you belonged to someone else. I didn't belong to anyone. No, you belonged to them. She didn't deny it. I told her to sit down. And then I pressed play. I showed her the video. Watched her flinch as she saw herself on screen. Watched her face twist as she saw her own betrayal from my perspective. She tried to look away. I made her watch. Do you know what it feels like to see your wife like that? I asked. She was crying now, but I felt nothing. Not pity. Not sympathy. Just cold detachment. You need help, I said. I was trying to find myself, she sobbed. You lost me instead. I told her to pack a bag. She begged. Said it was over. Said she'd leave the club. Said it was just a phase. You crossed a line, I said. And you can't uncross it. I handed her the suitcase. And she left. Just like that. 10 years of love reduced to a woman with a bag and a trail of lies. The night she left, the house was silent in a way I'd never felt before. Not peaceful, hollow. Like the soul had been drained from the walls. I walked through the kitchen, past the half-drunk glass of wine she left behind, through the living room where her perfume still lingered in the air, up to our bedroom, my bedroom now. I didn't sleep. I just lay there staring at the ceiling, thinking. What do I do with this truth? Do I bury it? Or do I burn it into the world? The next morning, I opened my laptop and stared at the folder marked red_door_evidence. I hovered over the upload button, Reddit, YouTube, an anonymous Dropbox. The world needed to see what was happening behind that door. But then my phone rang. Unknown number. I answered. Silence at first. Then a voice. Calm. Female. You've made a mistake. Click. No name. No threat. Just that. 30 minutes later, Claire called. I didn't pick up. She texted. We need to talk. Urgently. I blocked her. But they didn't stop. I got an email that afternoon. From an encrypted address. No subject. Just a single sentence. If you release anything, you're not the only one who gets destroyed. Attached was a photo of my workplace. My boss's face circled in red. Another image, my sister's Instagram page. My address. My license plate. They had eyes everywhere. I shut the laptop. My heart raced. My hands were shaking. I thought I was exposing an affair. I didn't know I was digging into a system. A network. A cult in designer heels. I paced the house for hours. Trying to decide, fight, or fold. And then I remembered something Lauren had said that night. It's not about him. It's about me. I understood now. The club wasn't about sex. It was about control. Power. Secrecy. The thrill of having a double life. And punishing anyone who threatened it. I deleted the folder. But not before I saved a copy offline. Stored it in a flash drive. Locked it in a safe. Just in case. That night, I lit a fire in the backyard. Burned her old journals. Her spa robes. That damn gray coat. It didn't bring closure. But it brought something. Weeks passed. Life moved on. People asked where Lauren was. I told them we separated. No details. I went back to work. Started therapy. Tried to rebuild. But every time I saw a red door, or heard laughter behind a wall, I felt it again. That chill. That knowing. Because here's the truth. They're still out there. Women like Lauren. Clubs like that. Smiling in daylight. Hiding in plain sight. And they think they've silenced me. But I'm still here. Watching. Waiting. And when the time is right, so will the world.